It was a thriving, bustling town, bursting with life as thousands of people flocked there to work in its coal, iron and steel industry. In the 19th century, Youngstown, already at the centre of America's industrial heartland. Its success continued in the 20th century. River and canal links, superior roads and railroads, ideally placed. Youngstown attracted cheap, often foreign workers to provide the steel the US needed to thrive. Well then, in the 1970s, the bubble burst. The steel belt, soon renamed the Rust Belt, as hardcore industry collapsed. Thousands lost their jobs, crime shot up, drug and alcohol problems became common. The population itself more than halving. The town became a symbol of decline, Donald Trump even highlighting it as he pulled out of the Paris Climate Change Agreement, as he talked of rebuilding US industry.
It's time to exit the Paris Accord. And time to pursue a new deal that protects the environment, our companies, our citizens, and our country. It is time to put Youngstown, Ohio, Detroit, Michigan, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, along with many, many other locations within our great country, before Paris, France.
Well, Youngstown, though, not even waiting for that industrial possibility. The steel belt turned rust belt is now morphing into the tech belt. Youngstown has rediscovered its muscle, becoming a town full of tech startups. Its best success here, in fact, even named in 2014 as the #1 business incubator in the world. Empty buildings now transformed into research and development centres. Youngstown's website even boasts of exciting times ahead, with a series of positive projects underway. Gallagher Fenwick revisits Youngstown for France 24.
In Youngstown, miracles are hard to come by these days. The Valurec factory might just be one. It's one of very few that is still open. The new tenant in the White House is good for business, good for fossil fuels, and good for steel production, at least according to the factory workers here.
So far, it's you know, like I said, beginning of the year it picked up. We got a lot of orders. Went from 2 crews to 4 crews. So, you know, that's a good sign. That's a very good sign.
The crane operator is keeping an eye on his son in the factory. He just landed a job in the foundry, and those vacancies don't come around all too often anymore.
2009 was one of their worst slowdowns for Valurec. It was 2009, and everything just kind of fell apart. And I remember going to school, and my dad calling me and stuff, talking about what's going on, how things are going with the mill.
Their optimism stands in stark contrast to the dark mood that's prevalent in this area. At one time, coal and steel enriched this region, but over the years, those industries have all but vanished. None other than Bruce Springsteen chronicled the rise and fall of this town.
James and Danny Heaton found the ore that was lined in Yellow Creek. They built a blast furnace here along the shore, and they made the cannonballs that helped the Union win the war. Here in Youngstown.
Like many towns and cities in America's Rust Belt, Youngstown is trying to hang on for survival. Since the 1950s, the city has lost 2/3 of its inhabitants. Youngstown needs new ones, and some do find their way here. Rodrigo Enrique is an engineer who left his native Mexico to work in a business incubator.
I'm originally from Chihuahua. I moved to the US to do my undergrad, and as I did my undergrad, I then moved to Ohio. And I came specifically to work here at America Makes, which is, as you know, the National Additive Manufacturing Innovation Institute.
The company gave him the chance to work on state-of-the-art 3D printers. Rodrigo says he is now part of a new industrial revolution.
Around Youngstown, there's a very, very big cluster of technology-driven companies, and more specifically, technology-driven companies around additive manufacturing.
Youngstown may no longer be a steel city, but it might be the new place to come for three-dimensional printing.
If you think of it as a normal printer, you print one piece of paper and there's a square on it. If you print another piece of paper, put it right on top of it, the square just ever so slightly smaller. You keep doing that and you'll come up with a pyramid over and over and over again. That's basically what this does, but with thermoplastics.
The few startups that found a place in this incubator do create jobs, but not enough to fill the vacuum. Youngstown is trying to remake its image as a new center for manufacturing. New entrepreneurs are expected to restore past glories. The city might not be turning its back on its industrial traditions, but those heady days are now a distant memory.
It's beautiful. I miss the good times we had. And we had, oh, so many good times in that house.
According to Connie Spagnola, everything was more beautiful back then, especially in her neighborhood. She has experienced the ups and downs of Youngstown and says that these streets have become unrecognizable.
I know the houses that were here because I pass them every day to go to school. And so we've lost quite a few, I see. And they forgot to take this one down.
Connie has voted for Democrats all her life until the 2016 presidential election. That year, she switched sides, as did many of her friends.
Well, we were ground zero. In other words, here's where you can get changed. Here's where you can become a Republican. We'll fill out a registration for you and turn it in.
She accuses Barack Obama of having abandoned people like her.
What did he do for us that was anything that he could say was a legacy? Nothing. He did absolutely nothing. So I thought about it and thought about it, and one Sunday I got in my car because I had looked on the internet for the Republican headquarters, and I got in my car and I came and looked for this.
She is now a Republican Party volunteer, devoted to the causes that her new president stands for.
This is just people coming in, asking for, let me build the wall. And so we had 8 or 10 of these, I don't know how many, at the fair. We built them, and Mr. Trump and Mr. Pence, Mr. Trump came and signed one of them for us.
Some converts to the Donald Trump cause are so devoted that they'll even set up a rally for the president's birthday. Connie is the organizer.
Plus, besides, don't we have to have a flag here somewhere? Where's our flag going to be, Sandy? Is that the national anthem? I know.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly
This way we got 80% tweaked up now, okay? And I ask all these things in Jesus' name. Yes, Kadisha?
Connie and her friends know that making Youngstown great again won't be easy. There's deindustrialization, there's mass unemployment, and then there are other serious problems. Drugs and a rampant opioid addiction crisis are wreaking havoc. Rehabilitation centers are on the front line of the battle against this latest scourge.
It looked like I just got drugged by a car for 20 miles because I was it was bad. I came here all bandaged up.
Patients often arrive here this close to death. For years, Paul Wright and Nikki Campana were hooked on highly addictive drugs. They came back here again and again, alternating between withdrawals and relapses. Every week, people come to the front desk here with a story similar to theirs.
No, it was close. That was my first OD ever, and I don't even know why I used again. I was doing so damn good. So yeah, I'm just grateful to make it back here. I'm grateful they took me back.
Opioids were once associated with minorities and the poorest inhabitants of America. But that has changed. Last year alone, in this one county, dozens died from drug overdoses.
Like I said, people are dying every day. I delete my Facebook like every other week.
Yeah, I deactivated mine like a year ago because I couldn't handle it.
Death. Every day. This person died, this person died.
God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today. Amen. You guys are amazing.
Because she got away, Nikki has turned into an example for these women. We are not allowed to show their faces. Her message is deceptively simple. It is possible to overcome an addiction, but the road is a long one. Nikki has been through it all. She now lays bare her worst memory.
And they told me that, you know, like my head tells me, like, don't talk about anything. I had a daughter born addicted to drugs, and that was one thing I held on to and wouldn't talk about at all. Because at one time somebody said something mean to me, so then I was afraid to talk about it. You know, and that's the one thing that kept me real sick for a long time. And there was a bunch of other things, but that mom guilt just ate at me like a mother. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss. She knows what she's talking about. You have to. Harder out there.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
No
problem.
I was grateful for the people that help encourage me to stay.
There you go.
In this struggle, the local authorities can be overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the drug crisis.
Heroin's really popular right now in Youngstown. Cocaine is it's steady. Rarely methamphetamine, and always see marijuana all the time. So pretty much cocaine, heroin, and marijuana mostly, the majority.
In this rehabilitation center, the police work hand in hand with the nursing staff. Their concept is to treat people who are suffering from addiction as sick people rather than as criminals. A surprise visit with the sniffer dog is not without risk for the officer. Some of the newest drugs are extremely dangerous. Merely touching them can be fatal.
There's an officer in a neighboring city who actually overdosed recently by brushing it off his uniform shirt. So, yeah, it's just something you got to keep in the back of your mind, I guess. You know, be extra cautious. We kind of got careless before, so it's good, you know, to be vigilant with that kind of thing.
This is the big day for Connie and her friends. More volunteers have joined them for Donald Trump's birthday celebration. Counting the donations is Khadija, a Moroccan-American who converted to Christianity. Also here is Holly, formerly of the US military, now here to support her president.
You can see the majority by the beeps love Trump. And the thumbs up, like we just got the finger there, that's a anti-Trumper. But it's very rare.
A mass gathering though this is not. Donald Trump might have won the state of Ohio, but this doesn't mean the state's inhabitants see a rosy future.
The mills won't open. The mills will never open again. We'd like to make steel here again because President Trump wants steel for the wall. And we'd love to produce it for him.
Youngstown wants to produce things again. At the business incubator, intern Madeline Grimes wants to introduce us to her bosses.
Yep. This is Tom Phibbs, co-owner of Let Us Do Good. And
the company makes organic indoor kitchen gardens.
We use no pesticides because we're indoors. We don't have the bug population that they do outside. And it's just a cleaner, healthier product in the end.
We should have plenty of time.
Intern Madeline regularly travels back and forth between her workplace and the local university. She will soon graduate in marketing, and she refuses to accept that there might not be a future for her in Youngstown.
We've recently experienced an economic turnaround and are in the midst of an economic renaissance, and as well as cultural development and artistic development within the students. And like I had said, I feel like students of Youngstown should feel very enabled to see Youngstown as an open opportunity.
Madeline wants to prove to us that her city is full of talent, and not just in business and manufacturing. She's a member of a wind quintet, whose average age is barely 20 years. An apt symbol, maybe, for a renaissance in Youngstown. For that rebirth to truly happen, though, the city will have to make sure it does not forget the victims of a glorious industrial past gone awry.
Gallagher Fenwick revisiting Youngstown for France 24. Well, that's all from this week's edition. Don't forget, of course, you can catch it again and all the previous editions as well on our website. That's at france24.com. More news coming up. Thanks for watching.